and welcome. My name is Bailey. I'm so glad that you're here. I thought I would take today to reintroduce myself for a few of our newbies and just kind of detail what this channel is all about. Truly, it's nothing extraordinary. It's my day-to-day life. I think hopefully when I'm old and gray, I can look back or have my kids look at these and see someone who is trying to find beauty where they know that it exists, that life is hard, but we don't give up, and we find magic where possible. I think that's all we can do each day. So I tend to talk a lot about what I'm experiencing in this world, from motherhood and the beautiful challenges it brings, to learning new skills at any age, home updates that inspire me, supporting other women as a doula, and even the art of bringing order and peace into our lives through organization is something I'm very passionate about. So if you are someone who's searching for inspiration, motivation, or simply a companion along your own journey of growth, then I truly invite you to follow along. You can subscribe if you like, join the community, and we can grow together. I thought I'd cover some plans for the summer, how things went. I approached some gardening, a few big life changes, and how I share some of my organizational principles that help me feel focused in a world that's quite chaotic. A garden has been on my goal list for the last 3 years, and usually something pops up, like something crazy happens and I can't start it. So this year I was so proud of myself. I was able to start one, and I yielded several zucchini that I was quite proud of. This year I didn't have a plan for the garden, but next year I'm definitely going to be a bit more buttoned up. Oh, we're looking fuzzy. Computer is having a hard time. I don't know if I can fix this. I will be doing some dishes. Just got out of a nice hot bath. But I thought, why don't we film a bit? I think for everyone, cleaning can be such a daunting task, because it's not only something that you have to do every day, but it reflects your mental health quite a bit, which is interesting that they're so tied hand in hand. I love all of the science behind it, but I also love finding resources and inspiration that help me feel motivated to tackle things like dishes and deep cleaning and the mess, and how do we even get into this position, whereas why are we acquiring and not, having just a set amount of items that bring you happiness? The science behind all of our reasoning is quite interesting to me, but I thought I would share some of my tidying principles and how to create a calm home. My favorite book on the subject of all time is The Swedish Art of Death Cleaning, or The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning by Margarita, I'm going to mispronounce this, but Magnusson. It's so good. Highly recommend checking out at your local library, because it opened up so many different avenues of why things need to be pared down and condensed, and how that can help improve your life. So highly recommend that book as well if you're just getting started. Our washer and dryer broke this summer, and it was so frustrating and disappointing, but I tried to remind myself that when things don't go right, it's not necessarily the end of the world, because it leaves opportunity for change, and that change can be positive. So we have all this extra space between our washer and dryer anyway, and we found some that have pedestals, so you don't have to bend over to get into your washer and dryer and get the clothes out and hurt your back. You can just throw them right in and scoop them right out. So it was a bit fate that they died at the same time because we saved up and were able to replace them. Alright, so one of my favorite things as a doula is definitely baby mom gifts. I think it's so fun when you get to pick a little love note almost to someone who's going to have a baby, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a labor of love, literally and figuratively, and so any way to kind of spruce up that mom's day is something I take as a challenge wholeheartedly. So I make sure first and foremost that anything that I'm giving them is a mix of both mom and baby, and not just one or the other, because it's one of those things where you really want to make sure you're hitting every need. So of course it's super easy to shop for cute baby things. We've got a couple of newborn onesies here with a little bee theme, a little plushie car seat toy, a new swaddle, and then for mom we went ahead and got the Perry bottle. This one from Freedom Mom is my favorite. Absolutely amazing. Would take it with me to a hospital, birth center, you name it. It's got the nice design where it's got the angled head, so you don't have to bend your arm weird, and you can get to all the sore bits and bottoms. And then depending on the mom's likes and hobbies and interests, etc., there's going to be a lot of time where she'll have to be up in the night with baby. And so if that mom is a super like movie buff, I usually get a movie they love, or I've done in the past like box sets of Friends or Sex and the City or stand-up comedy, you name it. Like anything suited for that mom's interest is what I will get. But for this mom, I went ahead and got a novel. I know it's a trilogy, so if she likes this one, there are several other books in the series that she can continue to read. I know she loves to read, and I know she already has a book light for night, so I got a book, and maybe she won't get to it right away, but I do know that she loves to read, so I tried to go for something she'd enjoy. And then the last bit right here are the ice pads from Freedom Mom, and they're so good. These were like my holy grail postpartum. I loved them. Everyone's needs are different, but they're even good if you have, because you're still sore in that area, you're still bleeding even if you have a cesarean, so they can also be used in other areas that require a cold pack. So that's the little mini, and then I decided to go for like a little basket so she can reuse this for kids' toys or diapers, diapering section in the living room, whatever she wants, she can use this for. But that's a fun one for expecting mamas, kind of a fun doula thing that I like to, when I can, friends or family have kids, try to give them a little goodie bag where they can maximize the stuff that will help them out when the new little one arrives. Okay, back to Swedish Death Cleaning. I love the book. I didn't think it was morbid at all, but more a gentle way of asking, what do I want to carry with me and what am I capable of letting go of? I like to apply this to my home because I'll ask myself, if someone else were to walk into my home, would they understand what mattered most to me, or would they just see piles of things that didn't really tell my story? And you'd be surprised, especially in my closet, like every time I go through it, there are several pieces of clothing I do not wear. Why do they stay in there? So I've toyed around with both capsule wardrobes and trying to find my version of simplicity. I try to apply that minimalism to my summer wardrobe as well. I live in the Pacific Northwest, so you have to layer kind of all year long. You have to layer up, and some days will be really hot and some days will be really cold. But instead of chasing more, I focus on less. Fewer outfits, but ones that I feel confident in, and that my capsule wardrobe typically has between 25 and 30 pieces. I love almost every single one of them. I will admit, just like everyone, I think I have 2 pair of jeans somewhere in the back of my closet there are those someday jeans, but I'm working on it. I'm working up to the idea of getting rid of them. It's very freeing when you realize that quality over quantity introduces this element of relaxation into your life when you know that the pieces you have fit and they look good and you feel good in them. So between all of these different methods, the simplicity of less should be a reflection of peace. Every item we keep should either serve us or remind us of what we love. That's not easy. It's not going to happen in a day, I promise. It can seem daunting when you have to go through everything, but I also like the principles of Marie Kondo's book, Spark Joy. I highly recommend giving it a read. It's not for everybody, but just like every book I recommend, or even television show, try the grocery cart method. Take what works for you and then discard the rest. That's exactly what I would recommend in this case. So holding each item, does it spark joy? Practical example. I used to keep like literally piles of clothes that didn't fit, or items that I thought I should wear because either they were in style or I liked the way they looked on other people. But when I finally asked myself, does this spark joy? I realized they were only taking up space. They were not serving me. I often wouldn't wear them. And so letting go is what made room for what truly fits into my life. The same thing, I go through waves of trying to instill more color in my wardrobe. I'll often get comments like, you wear a lot of black, or you have a lot of dark clothing, and it's true. And I think for a long time I used to dress in such a way because I was trying to hide or blend in. And then as I matured a little bit, I realized I just really enjoy black clothing. I love the simplicity of it. I love the style. And I've evolved. I tend to try color when I feel like it, but I also realize it's okay that I don't fit into the same style categories as my friends or my family, and that if it makes me happy, then that's what I should follow through with. Starting simply is worlds better than trying to dive in all at once. So something that I found helpful is thinking in small steps. Instead of trying to overhaul my entire home in one weekend, I choose one drawer or one closet or even a shelf. Over time, those small wins add up, and it has been a goal of mine for 2025 to go through the whole house. I'll be very honest, I'm probably only about 60% of the way done of going through each room. And just like we talked about, it's ever constant. Things are constantly changing. So you have to be able to be flexible, and different things are going to pull you in different directions and require more energy. Do not give up. Do not get frustrated. Take it one step at a time. When it comes to organization, I've stopped chasing Pinterest perfection. It doesn't have to be fancy bins or matching labels, although if that brings you joy, go for it. I'm all for it. But you don't have to fit into one category to be happy. It's simply about creating a space where you can breathe. So, as we step into the summer, or technically just out of it, I want to remind you, life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful, and whether it's a garden with a few herbs or a couple handful of zucchini, or a home with fewer but more meaningful items, even a daily habit that keeps you grounded. What matters most is the intention you bring. This channel is here just for women and people like you who seek inspiration, encouragement, and practical steps toward a more meaningful life. If you already haven't, I would love for you to subscribe and join the community so we can keep learning from each other and sparking joy. But if not, no worries. I'm happy you stopped by. Here are a few more bits and bobs of my current mindset around cleaning and organizing that helped me overcome some of the blocks that I was hitting. So, number 1, if your stuff isn't serving you, it will not be serving you any better if you pack it away in a box somewhere. This is true of most things. I think I do have several boxes that have important paperwork in them. I feel like that's the proper way to organize those. But if you're trying to make space for something, it's better to have it out and use it than have it tucked away somewhere in case you need it one day. And here are 10 questions I ask myself that will help me with any decluttering I'm going through. 1, is this item something I use regularly? 2, if it's not something I use daily or even weekly, monthly, yearly, is it something I love? That's a big one. 3, am I keeping it out of obligation or expectation? This can also be tied to guilt if you're gifted something and it has a lot of meaning to the person who gave it to you, but maybe not you so much. A discussion is warranted. Number 4, am I holding on to this because I think I should love it? Is it expensive? Did I spend a lot of money on it? Am I just thinking I should keep it? 5, am I saving it just in case? Hey, I'm just like everyone else. I have days like that where I think I might use this, or I had plans to use this. It's okay. Sometimes you have to kind of look through to find the clarity you need, and sometimes decisions take a little bit longer. Give yourself a time frame though. Don't let it go on forever. 6, do I have multiples of the same thing? 7, could something else I own do the same job? This one is awesome because you'll realize, oh, actually, I have several things that do the same thing. 8, am I holding on to a broken item to fix one day? This is a huge one also with you have to give yourself a time limit, because it's one thing to say, I'm going to fix this and then let it sit there forever. 9, is this item worth the time that I spend cleaning, storing, repairing it if that's the case? Or is it every time you think of this item just so overwhelmingly frustrating because you know it's going to take effort, you usually avoid it? That's a huge one. And finally, 10, could I use this space for something else? This is huge because you'll realize as you whittle things down and you find the space that you like, you can make your current home feel much more luxurious by spacing things out and having each area feel like a little bit more intentional and curated. I've also heard some really good pieces of advice through time. One, like a good identifier of something, if you actually use it, is have I used it in the past year? Some of my friends do the have I used it in the past 6 months, but again, depending where you live and the seasons that you have and experience, you might have to curate this to your lifestyle a little bit. But if it's not been worn, used, or appreciated since last fall, it's time to let it go. Next, will you use it in the year ahead? This is a big one as well. Again, we all have big dreams, big plans. We have the best intentions to use something or do something or create something. But if you don't actually take the time to make that happen, it's going to cause more weight of guilt, almost, just like pulling you back or dragging you down. Next, if shopping was happening right now, if you're in a store and you're in a boutique or whatever, thrifting, would you buy it again? Try to be present and mindful about your current situation, tastes, habits, your current priorities, because you change. That's a constant in life. We're changing, we're evolving. Would you keep it if you moved? This is a huge one. I have seen a method like this called like the move out method, where people literally pack up their entire house into boxes as if they were moving, give the place a big deep clean, and then as they're putting things away or packing things up, if they were moving and they weren't going to spend the time, money, or energy bringing it with them, they chuck it or donate it or get rid of it. I think in truth, we tend to be quite a bit more ruthless and honest with ourselves when we're facing a big life change like moving, especially because moving is one of the most stressful acts there is. So I think when you are that ruthless and honest with yourself about what stays and what goes, when you're moving from one space to another, you're able to have a bit more clarity in spaces that typically you wouldn't have had before. Now, I know I've thrown quite a bit at you in advice and things I've learned, the lessons I've picked up along the way, but I've got just a few more tidbits that helped me in my journey to declutter and clean that I'd love to pass along. And if they help even one person, I'll feel very, very happy. So, the best way to enjoy your favorite things every day is to only own your favorite things. It's such an advantage when everything in your life is used and beautiful. I think quite early in my life as an adult, I did the thing we all do where I saved things for special occasions, special candles, special, bottle of wine tucked away, or just anything that I felt there was a sort of reverence for, which is great to make things, feel magical once in a while. But I realized saving my glassware and putting it up high and tucking it away because I didn't want it to get broken didn't give me the chance to show the love and appreciation for the item or make every day kind of a special thing. And using it as it was intended and kind of keeping it stowed away wasn't serving me. The next huge one that I try to keep in mind every single day is enough is a decision. It is not an amount. I'm trying to think of where I heard that. I think it was in a podcast, but I absolutely resonated with the fact that having enough is totally a decision, not an amount when it comes to the things in your home. Now, another big one, because I am someone who comes from a long line of people who I think feel a lot of guilt internally for things, is to remember that the money that you spent on items, it's gone. You're not getting any richer because you store it in your home, and you're not going to be any poorer if you let it go. I think people get caught in the trap of, I can sell this because it was a lot of money and I don't want to lose that money and I spent money on it and I feel guilt about it, so I'm going to hold on to it because then I won't feel like I'm losing that money. But again, ask yourself, are you putting in the effort to actually sell that item? Or is it just this wishful thinking that you'd like to recoup your losses? You'd like to, make the money back on it that you lost. In reality, your time is far too precious to waste with these someday ideologies. You have to be acting. Even if it's in small steps, you have to be acting now. You have to be currently changing the way that you're doing things to see change.